Hey everybody, this is Patty. Welcome to the Witching Hour special holiday Witches Movie Coven crossover edition for the holidays. I'm Patti Negri. You guys know me because I'm here every week. But let me introduce some people you hopefully know well from Wednesday nights, and they've all done this show before because we're going to talk about Wicked. Let me introduce you. Let's start out with my upper corner, Jason Mankey.
I'm
You
Jason Mankey, written a bunch of Llewellyn books, including Llewellyn's Little Book of Yule, which is probably why I'm wearing this hat.
It's a beautiful and lovely holiday sweater. All right, Courtney.
That's me. I'm Courtney Buckley, Ghost Bait on Scared and Alone. And my favorite Wednesday job is to be part of this Witches Movie Coven.
And now you're going to be on a Monday again
Oh.
or all week long. All right, Richard-Lael in the green.
Yeah, I'm Richard-Lael. I'm known as the Gentleman Psychic. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained some weight. Anyway, Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, it'd be a...
There you go. And always the beautiful Heather Green.
Hi, I'm Heather Green. I'm the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, A Critical History of Witches in American Film and Television. I'm an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, working with authors like Jason and Patti Negri, and also a journalist covering all things occult in the media.
Okay, so you guys know this show. We talk about all sorts of things. We have witchy people, we have paranormal people, and collabs are so popular these days. Popular. We can't say.
Oh.
You did it.
Doesn't want to singing, but this is the holiday season, and we were just taping our Witches Movie Coven for Wednesday. Hopefully you guys watched, and if you didn't watch or listen, go to YouTube. You could watch the whole thing, and it's going to be just as chaotic as this is going to be. We're not done talking. We could have gone on for hours, so we decided to collab. This is this week's The Witching Hour. Wicked. It's a I don't know how to do this. I feel I keep wanting to go right into Witches Movie Coven, but isn't. So, but I'm going to go right into Witches Movie Coven. No, let's go with Heather first. Heather, because she is our historian. This is an educational show most of the time. Heather, tell people a little bit about Wicked.
Well, basically, just for those people who have sort of been asleep for the last for the last year or so, and haven't been paying attention to yes, for the last year in terms of it coming out and social media, or for the last few weeks. Wicked is the Wicked the movie is an adaptation of the musical Wicked, which came out in 2003, I believe, is when it hit Broadway, and which was an adaptation of the book Wicked: The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. It was Gregory Maguire's exploration of what it means to be wicked. If somebody's called wicked repeatedly, do they become wicked? Do they believe it themselves? His contemplation is political. His contemplation is social, written in response to the Satanic Panic and the many different oppressions that were happening in the U.S. and the U.K. over the 80s. So his book was adapted. It was successful. He wrote a number of other books after that and continues to write Oz-based books even till today, adapted to the musical, released, and then this now has become the most successful opening of a Broadway adaptation in history, and Universal's best start of any musical adaptation ever.
Wow.
So it's a behemoth.
It is a behemoth indeed. And for those of you who don't know the Witches Movie Coven, we are all witches. We identify as witches, and we talk about movies that have witches. And there's a lot of bad witches in a good way, bad witches in a bad way, good witches in a bad way. We like bad and good and everything in between. But this is different.
And then, of course, as far as bad witches go, there is, of course, Miss Piggy singing, "I'm a bad witch."
There is that.
Probably the best adaptation of The Wizard of Oz ever. Muppets Wizard of Oz.
Jason, I'm still
Heather's
mad.
a huge fan.
I'm still mad at you from our Witches Movie Coven 10 minutes ago, so let's not push our luck because
Oh no, oh, no, we're gonna bring Hexy into the
There's nothing to be mad about. Only
Uh,
love. Only love.
anyway, this movie has witches look different. It's very perfect for the time. How it represents witches, as Heather was saying, the good, the bad, wicking witches look different as we in every other film that we've ever done, how it looks different. So is the world changing? I mean, we know. Oh, okay. The big world. We don't even need to get into that conversation, though. This film does get into that conversation, which makes us all very happy. It could not be more timely, looking at things going on. And hopefully, everybody out there has seen the movie. Go watch it if you haven't. It's a little long, according to Jason, but it isn't at all.
and that's why I'm mad.
A little long.
That's why she's mad. And again, it's only the first half of the movie. But is the world looking at witches different? Because as we know, and we've talked about on our show, witches are very popular right now. Witches have I've been a witch for a long, 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 long time, for decades, but never as popular as it is now. And again, I'm not going to go into that song.
I am right up here.
Whatever. So is this trend, not even looking at all the politics of us, is this representing witches differently, also timely in itself? Thoughts?
Can I actually say? I think yes. As a whole, there is the whole witch talk, and there's a lot of popularity in alternate beliefs. However, as someone who refers to themselves as a diabolist, as someone who holds up the image of the devil, I still get death threats. I still get people who will email me and tell me that I'm going to burn in a devil's hell, and they try to proselytize. So in a way, yeah, there is a move away from traditional faith. At the other side, there is much more vocal pushback from the traditionalists. So it's a volatile time. Are people seeing us differently? Yes and no. I yes and no.
I do agree. I do agree. I think the divide is getting bigger. The divide in general in public, and but again, the divide is getting bigger. I don't know. What do you other guys think?
I spend a lot of time, not that I should admit this, on social media. That's my enrichment time. But I do see a lot of I want to say almost like more polarizing opinions than I've ever seen before. Where yes, there's a lot of content out there of people wanting to learn how to become witches, or asking questions about becoming a witch, or sharing information or sharing tips about being a witch. But then again, you have the complete polar opposite, where people are sending death threats and doing whatever, where I feel like people are more outspoken about that now, because you have the opportunity on social media, because you have a platform wherever you feel like creating one to say whatever you feel like saying. Those opinions are more out there. Not that they didn't exist before, but they're louder now. That's my take.
I think the political times, the current times, it's allowed to be louder now than it used to be. When we've lost kind of some kind of decorum and integrity and things like that it used to didn't. Because yeah, I am not a diabolist. I'm about as pink and witchy as you can get, and I get the death threats too. You know, I get a lot of people trying to save me, and I'm like, I'm okay. So, okay. Jason, what do you think?
I think Elphaba is one of the greatest depictions of a witch I have ever seen on the screen. To me, witches are people who exist on the margins, but they're also people who stand up and protect people on the margins, which is her entire character arc. When I was watching the movie, I was like, yes, this is one of ours. And I really mean this is one of ours, because a lot of times in witch movies, even if they're sort of a good witch, it's really ambiguous as to just how good they are. And this character embodies the things that I value in my life. And that was just really great to see on screen. So I totally down, and I think it relates to the political place that we're at. in 2024.
I'm not mad at you anymore after you said that. So
Yay. Well, there are thoughts.
the hex has been rescinded. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's holiday season.
Yeah, 'tis the season of the killing tree.
Humbug. Bah, humbug. Killing tree.
Heather, your thoughts on anything, since you are kind of our academic on this and how witches have always been portrayed?
Yeah, a bunch of things. I've been ranting on social media off and on about this movie and its place in all of this, but I think that we've been interested. The witches are popular in movies when our society becomes unstable, or there's struggle. There's some kind of struggle and change. I'm going to say change, okay? Because struggle makes it sound negative. It's when there's upheaval and change and instability. We have seen an increase in interest, not only in movies but even in the occult, generally speaking. So, for example, most of the popularity of witches and most of the popularity of big occult movements happen at this in parallel during feminist movements, for example. So it's not surprising to see this popularity in film and television, which has been going on since around 2013 or so, when the movement started happening. We started seeing Black Lives Matter. We started to see the Me Too movement, a number of things happening. Of course, the political upheaval we've seen over the last 8 or 10 years. So it's not surprising. What's interesting to me, and I really am watching closely how witch representation is changing. And it's changed since 2013. And I'm really trying to pinpoint that. Right now we're starting to see this place where at the early 10 years ago, witches were exploring their history, and a lot of the witches who became witches were not witches originally. They were harmed and became witches in response to society harming them. We're now starting to see witches in the last 3 or 4 years who are witches, and they say, wait, I'm a witch. Yeah, I am. And they're going to own that. They're a witch intrinsically. It's not because they've been harmed. Elphaba is a witch, not because she's been harmed. She's a witch because she's a witch, and she's harmed because she's a witch.
Yeah.
So, or not even that. She's not even harmed because she's a witch. She's harmed because she has green skin. She's harmed because she looks different, because she acts different, because she's smarter, because all of these things. So it's an interesting dynamic that's changing with the representation. I think that speaks to witches, just real witches, modern witches like us. And I asked that question in a workshop I do. If witches are formed by harm, what is that the only way you can become magical, is because you've been harmed by society? Can you actually be a witch? So there's this question that was put before us, and now that's changing. Now representations in movies and television are starting. It's like Sabrina was one of the first. She was a witch, and she said, nope, I'm taking it, I'm going to own it, and I'm going to take my power with this, and I'm going to have no regrets. And that's what we see in Elphaba so strongly. And not only does she say that, but then she throws it back. So I think that speaks to a lot of people, a lot of witches now. And I think that's what's empowering. Even Agatha, to some degree, had that as well, even though she wasn't quite as charming.
She's certainly not as noble.
No, like I said, not quite as charming. But I think there's something to that. The characters, especially what's the one character? I can't remember her name. I think is it Jennifer? I don't know if you watch Agatha all along, but Jennifer is similar. She gets her power back, and when she gets her power back, that moment is so powerful. Just watch that last episode of Agatha all along, and you can see her when Jennifer gets her power. I think it's Jennifer gets her power back, and she feels her power finally. It's almost the same as when Elphaba realizes her power. You can see that moment, and that is what we're starting to see and I think a lot of modern witches, it really responding to that.
I say on our show a lot that I love that coming into power moment in movies that we watch, and it feels like, for me at least, I don't want to speak for everyone, but for me in my personal practice, I feel like the last probably year I've had my own coming to power moment where my belief system and what I can do has become stronger, and I doubt myself a lot less. And in response to, and I mean, maybe it is in response to feeling threatened or feeling harmed because of the political climate, but it's like the line we talked to, I do the quotes, but like when she says, "I'm not afraid, it's the wizard who should be afraid of me." It's that embodying that, which was really powerful to see on the screen, because that's how I have felt for probably the last year or so. And I've seen that a lot with other people who identify as witches on social media or doing whatever, where they are feeling very powerful. So I think there is something to that. And I feel like, people are talking about hearing a call, or like the awakening, feeling an awakening right now. And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because it feels like that's what's happening.
Beautiful. Thank you. Jason, I saw something go off in your head just now.
Wow.
I know
was
you
just-
did.
Heather brought something up, and I was just kind of thinking about it. There's something about when somebody self-identifies as a witch that's a lot more powerful than someone just being called a witch. Because being called a witch is, I'm going to scapegoat you for all these things, and I don't understand you, and I'm not interested in understanding you, and I'm going to apply this word that might very well be a slur in a lot of places. And self-identifying a witch is taking that power and grabbing it for yourself. And I'm not sure if Elphaba ever like really says, "Hello, I'm a witch," and just identifies that way. But there's a moment in the film though where you see her grabbing her power and knowing how strong that she is, and that's the kind of thing that's going to resonate for a lot of modern witches.
Right. Yeah, because I think that maybe that's what in society it's like we've given away our power so much in modern society. We've given away our power to fear. We've given away power to other people. We've given away to limiting belief systems of our own, which is it's almost scary, I think, for John Q. Public to take that power back, because you take your power back, you also take responsibility back. You also take it goes deeper than that, and it's.
I also think there's a really powerful moment, or could be a really powerful moment here, with Wicked coming to the screen, because I feel like it's more accessible to more people, versus just the musical on the stage, because not everybody's a theater person, but everybody loves movies. And so you have people who aren't necessarily identifying as witches going to see this and seeing that grabbing of the power in that light, they're feeling represented in all these other different ways. So whether it's, because of the animals and in the movie, and feeling represented as a marginalized group, and watching this really powerful movie and story being told, I feel like it's kind of uniting on whatever front, that like whether you're a witch or you're not a witch, whether you're a person of color, or you're in the LGBTQ community, whatever it is, you can find something in this to make you feel powerful.
I think that's true, and I think that speaks to something I know what another one of my rants on social media recently in response to this movie is that usually usually the witch in a movie, whether they're being accused of a witchcraft or whether they're Elphaba or whatever the case is, usually allegorically speaking, is not about modern witchcraft. Very, very few films are actually about the practice of witchcraft in any real form. There are a few that do touch on it, that are about it, but most of them are allegories. They provide readings of power within society. They usually reflect women's power, but it doesn't have to be that. And then we've talked about that on the Movie Coven on different movies where they reflect other aspects of society, other marginalized groups, like Bell Booking Candle, for example, pops into my mind. But they are reflections. they are reflections not of modern witchcraft. They're reflections of exactly what you're talking about. Other people can go in and look at these movies. Women would watch witches in these 50s and 40s films. they were about women having power and branching out and doing things they're not supposed to do for a while. You know, they have this other they have these other readings. It's not about witchcraft. It's about exactly what you said, Courtney. It's about empowerment. And Elphaba is about she's everybody. You know, she is everybody that has felt marginalized in some capacity, whether it's in their family, in their hometown, greater community, whatever it is. If you felt disempowered, I'm not going to use marginalized. If you felt disempowered because of who you are in any capacity for any length of time, you can connect with Elfhood. You don't have to be a witch. Because it's not really about witchcraft. That's just the narrative the mask it wears, so to speak.
Right.
Courtney also brought something up in that Broadway and musicals lock a lot of people out of being
It's
able
true.
to see them because they are very cost prohibitive for many people. And even today, going to the movies can be cost prohibitive. This movie, once it's on streaming and everything else, is only going to become stronger and more powerful.
Mhm.
And I will suggest that the second movie will open to bigger numbers than the first because people are going to discover this movie in the months to come, and it's going to resonate with them.
Right. And
Absolutely.
I do. I know. I mean, I live in Los Angeles. I am in the entertainment business, so maybe not Hollywood proper, but I know people who have never gone to a musical theater. So we're talking a fraction of people. And now, again, I don't know hardly anybody who hasn't seen Wicked. So it's kind of huge. It's kind of
Yeah. Well,
really.
and you can't even get to them. Some you have to go to a theater, so it's cost prohibitive, time, space, getting actually driving. And do you even have a theater doing the play? We're in Atlanta. I grew up in New York City. I could see anything growing up because they were all there on Broadway. I mean, and everything was there. But here in Atlanta, the Fox Theater does its runs, and I have to wait to go see whatever's I get to see whatever's coming. Juliet's coming next month, so I'm
And
gonna get to see that.
that's Atlanta. That you're in a metropolitan area.
Yeah.
There are large swaths of people who live in Nebraska or in Kansas or in rural Missouri. I did not. I did sing in the opera. I did do ballet, but they were little tiny companies,
Mhm.
and where that was something that I wanted to do. But so many of the people that I knew and grew up with had never seen a play. On a side, I did get my brother and my father and my mother to come and see me in Cinderella. I played one of the wicked stepsisters, and my brother was completely uncomfortable. And my father said, it got really weird. He said, son, I think you ought to not do that dancing. I think you ought to do showbiz instead. And I went, that literally is show business. That's literally what.
I didn't get it. That's funny.
I mean, I was a theater kid, and I drew up. I like a theater kid. That's what I did. It's what I went to college for, and I grew up within driving distance to Boston, which has a theater district, and I didn't see plays. I didn't see musicals. I didn't see Wicked until this year on stage. And I had the bug, but it just isn't something that's always accessible. So it makes me happy to see that not only is it coming to screen, but it's been brought to screen in the right way.
Right. And
Yeah.
with recognizable people that people like. People don't know even regular theater actors as a rule, but Ariana Grande and all
Right.
these people that they've heard of from whatever reasons. Yeah, actually, Wicked's playing in Los Angeles right now, so that's kind of cool. It's at the Pantages, but even LA, the supposed entertainment capital, we don't have that. We have a lot of little theaters, not
Mhm.
theaters that can do Wicked. We
Yeah.
have the Marte Forum, we have the Pantages. We could count on one half of a hand our theaters that could actually do this in the middle of Los Angeles. So
Mhm.
yay,
Yeah.
big screen.
There is a great play that I'm anxious to see, and it is called Our American Cousin. And hopefully I can get the presidential suite, the presidential box. That would be great.
I think that, we're talking about power, we're talking about the timing, and it being going out to more and more people. Like Jason said, once it starts streaming, more people are going to see this. And if people have the visceral response that they're having to this, um, and more people are seeing it, there's almost a call to action in this. This is a movie that I can see being one of those movies. And it's amazing to think about this being a musical, because people usually think of show tunes as being goofy or just not having any political import, not having any value in that notion. But if you look back at some of the major musicals, they do have very strong political messages, and they do have powerful, moving political, socio-political messages. Rent, I mean, you name it. Hair, I mean, but they're not. They don't. These musicals. Rent had a movie, but it did not get out the way this is. It didn't have the response that this is. People are having to this, so it's really quite amazing. It's a phenomenon, really. Really, it is.
And it comes at the perfect time.
I know it landed again, like I was talking about when we were doing our podcast, our Wednesday podcast. I was saying how The Wizard of Oz has traditionally found itself landing at the right place at the right time unwittingly, and that's given it the success. I'm talking about The Wizard of Oz, MGM's Wizard of Oz, and the original books. They sort of haphazardly landed at the right place at the right time periodically, which propelled them forward to where we are today. And they could not have planned this better. They could not have.
Magic.
I really believe the spiritualist, the metaphysical stuff that Baum was into back then when he wrote this, he must have woven something into this story, because look at it today.
Exactly.
Well, movies are magic.
Yeah.
I love
this is proof positive.
Yeah.
I love too that he changed the name from the Emerald City to the Wizard of Oz, and the inclusion of the word wizard changed the trajectory of these books. If it would have just been the Emerald City, no one would have ever read them, no matter how good they were. No one would have read them.
It's also worth pointing out that I think that the movie adaptation, because there's more space to play with this than the musical, is actually a much better story and is much more in depth than the musical was, which is less than 3 hours, and part 1 is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So usually people don't improve upon the source material. I would say that this movie improves upon the Broadway musical source material. And I'm looking forward to the extended director's cut, which will be 3.5, 4 hours long for each part.
Well, they extended from the source material from the Broadway show, but they pulled from the book.
From
the book is
yes.
I definitely recommend reading the book, because it's so detailed with its complicated political intertwinings and all that stuff. And remember that the wizard in the original stories back in 1900, he was always a fraud. Even the one in the MGM one, he was a fraud. So that pulls through. That rings true.
And one of the things that I find fascinating about the original wizard from the books is, yes, he was always a fraud, but he lands smack dab in Oz, and in the book, he affixed green glasses to all of the people who enter Oz. They have to wear these green goggles day and night. They're affixed to their skulls, these green glasses. That's what gives the glow. It has nothing to do with actual emerald. They're all wearing these green glasses.
Yeah. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Oh, are you putting on some green glass? Oh, wait. Oh, wait.
Now I'd have to get it back to green. There we go.
There you go.
Someone in the someone at the Oz convention I went to back in Charlotte did a talk, and I didn't get to see it. I think I was presenting at the same time, about the parallels between the Hunger Games and the Wizard of Oz. And I just sat there. I wanted to go see this talk because it was just blowing my mind. But if you think of City being the center, the capital of Panem, and you start to sort of put that together, it starts to like totally fry your brain.
Right.
Because that's another one. I mean, when she shoots the arrow up and takes down the Capitol and does all that stuff, you know, it's almost like she was defying gravity. She was defying gravity. So
Don't even The Hunger Games is my go-to movie, my go-to books for when I am in a reading slump, and my go-to movie when I just need something to consume that feels like home. And I don't know why. I just love them so much. So don't start, because I'll talk about it now for
There's
another
no
hour.
better feel-good series of books and movies
I know.
than The Hunger Games. Merry Christmas and Happy Yule, everybody.
we're talking about it taking down the
Right.
system.
Right. Coming to power.
Coming to power.
Call to action. Let this be a call to action. As our powers are being taken away from us, as our rights are being taken away from us, let this be a call to action.
Yeah.
So that means
Promote it,
everybody, if you haven't
Promote
seen
it,
it,
be.
watch Wicked. And happy holidays. And what am I right? Okay, I'm just we have beautiful movies. I'm honored to have, this is my movie coven, my dearest of friends. We have truly become family. So for all of you out there who do the regular witching hour, you have to check out Witches Movie Coven. This was a teaser. We get into hexing we get into all sorts.
Oh yeah, we do.
We definitely get
Oh,
into
yeah, we
hexing
get
on
it.
Yeah,
the
we
show.
do. With this guy
Definitely.
over here, yeah.
And with the deepest of hearts and the deepest of love. So if anybody before we go has any holiday wishes or thoughts or words of wisdom or jokes, give them now.
I have a holiday blessing.
Okay.
Any fool to go about with Merry Christmas upon his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. Humbug, I say. Bah, humbug.
Thank you. No, Courtney.
I would just say, channel your inner Elphaba or Katniss Everdeen. Take that power and don't let the momentum stop.
Thank you.
So mote it be.
So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Anything else, or do we go on
To
that?
counter Richard-Lael, this is the most wonderful time of the year. Take advantage of it. Enjoy the lights and the darkness, and find something to be happy about. I know it's tough sometimes, but it's out there if you look just enough.
Thank you. Thank you all, my dearest of magical witches. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. We wish you the happiest of holidays, and here's to a magical year ahead. And let's take our power. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.